Hello and welcome to the Alchemist Inkwell.
This is your spiritual podcast for grounded people.
I'm Emily.
And I'm KristaLyn. And we are so excited that A, we got that right. Yay us.
We did it.
But also, we get to recap the Iceland trip with you guys on this episode. And I'm so stoked about it because we also have other trips. If you didn't get to hang out with us in Iceland and this sounds really fun for you, there are other trips you'll be able to join us on.
Honestly, I'm so excited about the other trips too. Like we were talking about it before we hopped on here and I was like, oh my gosh. For everyone who doesn't know, we have launched Greece.
Yeah.
Just going to throw that out there. It snuck past us. It's been so much. Greece is live. If you want to come with us to Greece, we're going to go to Delphi and like go to the Temple of Apollo and like literally channel the actual oracles, right? The water's running at Delphi again, which is a huge thing. We can go into it next episode. Yeah. Honestly, we will go into the prophecy of that maybe next episode because that is, it's a bigger thing than I want to get into on our Iceland recap episode.
Yeah.
But we're going to do that. We're going to go to the Acropolis. We're going to go to Santorini. We're going to channel different deities. You will, when you come on the trip, we do actually like reach out to the deities and see who wants to work with you and let you know which deity is going to be working with you in Greece. It's next June. We're going to have so much freaking fun. Greece is one of our favorite destinations ever.
Yeah.
We have an amazing guide there. The food is so good. It's so cheap, guys. It's not like to go to Greece. Like obviously there's investment on our side, which covers everything. But once you're there, like food is so cheap and souvenirs are so cheap. Like it's so cheap. It's so cheap. Do it.
I highly recommend it. I remember the one thing that I will say about Greece, and I'm like not a beach-goey person, but when I went to Greece, it was like, oh, this feels like a vacation. And I'm not from a family that does vacations, right? We didn't go to the beach. That was too like not active. Why would you just want to stay and not do anything all day? This felt like a vacation. Not that we didn't do anything, but we had an adequate amount of free time. We spent one day, and if Malcolm does get to be our guide again, which has been requested and I'm sure will happen, we will get to spend that evening again on a boat at sunset around Santorini, jumping into the water and singing ABBA songs, which nothing feels as heart-opening. Yes, it's just such a heart-opening trip and an itinerary, and I just absolutely love it. I'm so looking forward to going.
Yeah, so we just launched that. That's why we're starting off talking about that. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to do something like that, Greece is open for you. And you
can check our last recap for some insight on how it goes. But it'll be totally different with you there.
Yeah, so hyped. So excited about it. So please come to Greece with us. It's going to be magical. Magical payment plans are available as well. They're always available, but they are available. So you can put it on a payment plan. And again, it's next June that we're going to be going. So you have time. You got time. Like a year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's a year of looking forward to it. It always comes so fast though.
I know. Like Christmas is such a blip on my schedule with all these trips because it's like the trips are so much bigger and more exciting to anticipate. Yeah.
Honestly, we were in this Iceland trip. This was one of the most surreal ones for me. Iceland. I was just like, oh my God. Wow. Like it's one of those spaces where unless you're like a super outdoorsy person, it might not always be on the top of your list. It should be, first of all. Fucking incredible. But also, it was so surreal for me. This was one of the most surreal ones that we've done.
Well, and I think it reminded me of The Bear and the Nightingale. The traditional folklore and magic and belief was not impacted by any of the missionary intrusion that came to that place. And like, hiking a glacier, you have your guide telling you, look at the trolls that are here. Look at this little troll hole. And they're like, he's sleeping in there. And then even our main guide, Giuseppe, shout out to Giuseppe, you were incredible. Just saying like 50% of the people who live in Iceland believe in the hidden people or the elves. And he was one of them. And of course he was, because he was our guide, right? Like that's how it goes. But just being able to live in a place where it was so normalized, even more so than at other places we've been, was so neat because they were everywhere. They were everywhere and it was visible. Yeah.
It was so safe in every sense of the word. It was physically safe. It was spiritually safe. It was like sexual orientation safe. I have never been to a place in my entire life that was so safe. And I don't think there is another place, honestly, that is as safe as Iceland is. For context, there is 400,000 people in the entire country of Iceland. Reno, Nevada has 323,000. So for context, that's how few people are there. I will say when I was looking at it, I was like, okay, so Reykjavik is tiny. Reykjavik is their big city and it is small little city and it is so nice. People would just, we were at a bar and people left their full purses and everything just wherever to go dance. Like they just left them And we were like, whoa, but there's no crime. There's no homelessness. Basically, it's virtually almost gone. They have minimum income for every citizen, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're working or
Healthcare.
not, you get a certain amount to live, and it's enough to afford an apartment and food and living. And healthcare is a $300 yearly deductible for all the healthcare you ever need. Yes, it's expensive to live there. It's expensive to travel there. It's super expensive, but worth it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it was so magical. And the people were in such beautiful symbiosis with the elves and with the magic and with the deities. And there was just this beautiful reciprocal energy that was there and everything. It's also a queer haven. Like, I cannot stress it enough. Our guide was telling us that Iceland was, before gay marriage was legal anywhere else in Europe, it was legal in Iceland. So all of the gay people would come to Iceland to get married, which is beautiful. And there's a rainbow road in every town. I drove all the way around the thing. It's almost every town has a rainbow road. And they almost always lead to a church, which is just like a really cute, cool thing. Also, like, historically, just like kings of malicious compliance. At one point in time, like, I think it was the king of Denmark who owned them at the time, was like, if you guys build a church on your land, you don't have to pay taxes. So all of a sudden they were like
Everywhere.
thousands of churches. Not that they were like super ingrained in needing to believe in that, but it was like making sure that
It exists. Yeah.
they didn't have to pay taxes. I will say that, you know, it was also really diverse, which was interesting. The amount of travelers from everywhere. There was so many. I heard more languages on this trip than I've ever heard on any trip ever, which was neat too.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, there was just so much to see. First of all, the nature there is showing off, and rightly so. She's stunning. So, like, okay, I have this opinion of, like, when you're traveling in Europe and stuff and you see a castle, sometimes you see enough castles, right? And like, if they have like just a bunch of castles on the trip, you're just like, okay, a tour of another castle. This one, there were waterfalls every day, and I was never less than stunned. We got to go behind waterfalls. We got to go inside waterfalls. We got to get doused by waterfalls, and we got to like witness them almost every other second when you're just watching the landscape. And it was like the waterfalls did not disappoint. I loved them. We got to climb up next to waterfalls. Yeah,
it was, every waterfall was different. Everyone had a different personality. The energy was so drastically different between each one. Didn't get tired of them, not a single moment. They were spectacular, truly. Yeah. I guess we can just go through some of like our biggest highlights, I think. I think that's going to be the best way to kind of approach this one instead of going day by day. Do you agree?
Yeah.
You know, because I think Reykjavik in general was a highlight. I really
so
love
good.
that city. It's a place I was like, oh, I could live here. Like, genuinely could live here. And
That
there are
one
very
street.
few. Yeah, there are very few places on the planet that I've gone and been like, I could live here. Like, I would be happy and comfortable doing that. And Reykjavik is one of the top ones where I was like, okay. They have a bookshop bar that we went to twice, and it was so fun. We went first night with a couple of our friends / clients, and that was fun. And then we went the last night after the farewell dinner with like almost all of them, and it was so fun. Like, we had a blast and drank in a bookstore, which is a great use of a bookstore, by the way, for after hours. Great use. Live band every single night. Fabulous.
Well,
Yeah.
so the other cool thing about it was, you know, the time of the year we went, it was daylight the whole time. I came home and I woke up at 5 a.m. and it was dark out. And for a second I was like, is it 2 a.m.? Like, what the heck? And it was just because I had witnessed a sunrise for the first time in like 2 weeks. But because the one night after our welcome dinner, we went to an ice bar, which was also a riot. Like, it was so funny. They had a throne. They had props made out of ice. This guy whooshed us around to different photo opportunities and things. It was more of an experience than a hangout.
It was hilarious.
We got to have
laughed so
cloaks
hard.
and gloves. And my favorite is we have this one picture of Em and I were in like a contained space of ice, and we were panicking, quote unquote panicking about being trapped, and gracefully as usual was like, oh, and I was like
Krista looks like they're screaming bloody murder, and I'm over here like,
I looked like I was devastated. But it was fantastic. And again, we have so many good memories. So many photographable moments. You know, plenty of opportunities to take pictures.
one of my favorite pictures of you and I is actually on the hike that we did on the last day, and you and I are like walking. It's the back of us, and we're like walking down the trail. It's so cute. I love it.
It is. I saw that one.
so
I
cute.
love the other thing about our trips that I want to make known to everybody is the people that show up on the trips are so cool. We end up everybody taking pictures of everybody. So by the end of it, you have candid pictures that you had no idea captured you in this moment. And that was one like of us, just like this quintessential thing. And I'm so grateful to the person that took that picture, because we wouldn't have that otherwise. And it was like, oh man, look, this is us doing our thing.
It was super cool.
Yeah,
I'm really happy.
I think this is the trip where, for me, it finally sank in that this is what we get to do with these people. And I had this moment where I was like, I am here doing this with the most amazing like business partner, with the most amazing travelers in the world, and the like incredible guides, and just doing so many great things. I couldn't be more grateful.
And again, our guides are always, they show the fuck up. Like, you've heard the story of Massimo. He's the only one who ever hasn't, because everyone other one has always made it like a customized, beautiful trip for us. So like our very first, we spent one night in Reykjavik, and then we like set off into the countryside, and we stayed in these like little tiny cute little places that were mostly just like farmsteads, essentially. One was called Guest House Gertie, and then I forget the other one was called, but just like really like they were basically just farms that had guest houses. That's where we stayed, which was really cool. It was really cool. But after our dinner of that first night, and like out there, we had explored a bunch of stuff. Oh, we went to this one spot that was filled with ruins from Vikings, and we were channeling all this stuff of like this was there and that was there, whatever. And then we come upon like a little QR code. It was very hidden, and you scan the QR code, and virtual reality puts the buildings like on your phone of where everything was. And we were right about all the stuff. It was like the most immediate validation. I was like, we did so good.
And that was at the fault line.
Yeah,
so Iceland is actually split in half by a fault line for the North American tectonic plate and the European tectonic plate. So we got to walk along that and across that. And then near that is where all these ruins were. It was excellent for channeling. Such a great walk. And then, you know, to have that QR code just validate everything. We always find ways to validate too, which is so cool. But Iceland made it so easy.
Yeah, it's like talking about some channeled history on like immediate validation. It was so cool. It was so cool. But that later that day was we went to the first, you know, we went to a bunch of different stuff that day. But that night after dinner, it was still bright out. Like it looked like noon. I'm not even kidding. And our guide was like, here, I'm going to take you to my favorite waterfall. That was a highlight of the whole trip. This place was called Glugafoss. Love Glugafoss. It was so magical. Like, I can't even just... This waterfall had, like, carved out, like, a kind of cave around the bottom of it, almost. And you got to, like, walk out underneath. It was so cool. And we were just like, what is even life right now? It's midnight, and this is just... Yeah, it was... That was, like...
Yeah. And his reason for taking us there was we should go refill our water bottles. And we got to fill our water bottles from a waterfall on more than one occasion, but this was the first, and it was good call, Giuseppe. Good call.
Yeah, and it was delicious and beautiful and amazing and clean, and it was magical. It was really cool. That was a really cool waterfall. And then the next day we all just got drenched, absolutely drenched as far as that, because the next waterfalls we went to, like the following day, one, you had to like walk through rocks on a river to get through this like little hole, and then you opened up to like this waterfall chamber is the best way I can describe it, and we got drenched.
Yeah, well, and it had like that rock inside. One of my favorite pictures in there is of you and Weston, but I also happen to be up on the rock at the same time, so it's you guys being adorable as always, and me in the background just being like
oh, look at them be. Yeah, it was really funny. I think I've had a lot of travelers, and you also say this too, it's like one of the things that they end up appreciating is like Wes and I are cute, like sappy together, and like I don't realize it because it's just how we've been together for almost 11 years, so like it's a long time. But I appreciate that people feel like I had a couple travelers come up and say that like this, you know, seeing, because Weston's very spiritual. Like, he's a very spiritual person. He was very involved in doing card pulls with everybody at night. We would go sit down there and drink wine and do card pulls.
Crushing it. Yeah.
He did readings for a bunch of people and was like, it was so great. And they were like, it's really nice to see that like you can be in a relationship as a spiritual person with another spiritual person. Like, that's a possibility. And that made me feel really good about this trip. That was like a big highlight for me of like, oh my God, I'm so glad to provide that. I love him. He's amazing. And also like, yeah, I'm like glad to, because you can, like, that's very possible.
Yeah. In this, a year of Venus retrograde, that's healing for a lot of people to see.
Yeah.
Venus retrograde is over, everybody. Don't worry. But it's really great to see relationships doing that well and being that just naturally open with the appropriate affections all over the place. It's great. I think I got a lot of cute moments of you guys just at waterfalls, because I would turn around and it's like, gorgeous waterfall. You guys being adorable. Snap. You have to.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was just so cool. I will say, as far as like places we stayed, Guest House Gertie was awesome, because at night we all were able to come down, and we like to do this on trips. We talked about it with Egypt too. We like to come down and gather together at night and do card pulls for each other. And because we were going to a place the Norse place, I gave everybody a set of runes, and then everyone traded their runes because everyone was like a unique type of crystal. So everyone had like combo runes of like everyone else's traded, which was just really cool. It was a neat vibe. Krista gave a really cool dream stave situation, and that was, everyone has like really neat dreams, which was neat to compare during those times too. It was neat. It was just a really cool like energetic connection, and that Gertie was, they didn't care, by the way, like they were just like, okay, we'll turn off the lights whenever you're done, and we're like, okay.
We had several people, like there was a window between the entryway and the kitchen area or the dining room area. And the one night we were all just doing it, and I looked up and there was someone leaving, and they like pointed through the window at our cards and gave like big thumbs up and was like, that's so cool. And I was like, yes, it is. But then even at the people at the check-in were about it. Like they were wearing crystals around their necks and that kind of stuff. And so it was just a really nice space to be in. For that type of thing.
It's really safe and beautiful. We got to see icebergs. I didn't realize that would have such a spiritually and emotionally profound effect on myself.
Yeah.
But it did.
Yeah.
Like really big.
When we first saw them, it was the night before we actually got to interact with them via boat. And I couldn't control my face. Like the amount of awe on my face that I could feel, because like they're so huge. And that was the thing about Iceland too. Like I swear the glacier itself is the embodiment of some deity, some nature deity or something. Like you could just feel it, and just being able to be among it and participate in witnessing it was something. It felt like an honor.
It's such an honor. You're driving on this road, which is like the main road around Iceland. It's 2 lanes, sometimes 1 lane, and it's the main road, just for context. But you look and there's this glacier, and it's like spilling out around mountains, and it's awe-inspiring. And then we're at like the lagoon that's filled with all of these icebergs that are coming from this glacier, and it's just like, and there's seals, and you're just like, what? Krista fell through an iceberg, actually. Don't worry, it wasn't on water. It had washed up on the shore.
Yeah, so what happens with these glaciers is so the glacier breaks off pieces of ice, unfortunately, a lot of them, because climate change is real. But then throughout the day, they move along the lagoon and towards the beach. And when they wash up on the beach, I guess oxygen gets into them. So they go from looking blue to crystal clear. And they're giants. So like we have I'm sitting on one like a throne, because it basically had a built-in couch to it. And then I happened to find one that had a hole, and it was a very if I fits, I sits kind of moment. Like I could fit in there. And I said to the people around me, like, should I do it? And they were like, yeah. So I jump in, and now I'm underneath an iceberg. And I was like, cool, I'll just shimmy out and it'll be fine. And then I tried, and my head got stuck. And so there's this moment, because someone was taking a video the whole time. So I look back up through the hole, and you just see me smile, take a deep breath. And Katie, one of our travelers, did help drag me out the bottom. I was able to shimmy enough until she could grab my boots. So I got stuck in an iceberg and saved from the iceberg, which means I am Aang, Katie is Katara, the end.
You were birthed from the ice. Yeah, we hiked the glacier, which was really, really amazing. The glacier traps rainbows because there's no oxygen in that ice. So it traps the entire prism. And unless you break the ice and expose it to oxygen, it keeps the rainbows trapped. So it's literally like walking on thousands of trapped rainbows. It's so cool. It's so cool. And I was talking to the glacier when I was on the glacier to be like, thank you, what can I do? And it was like, can you make me harder? And I was like, I'll try. So I got off the glacier, and I'm like sweating and dripping. My face is beat red, and I had multiple travelers be like, are you good? I'm like, I just took heat from the glacier, so it's harder. This is just what I did. It's fine.
I have to keep that in mind for how much I freeze.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just absorb the heat. It's like very warm. Then we got off the glacier, and it was like a reward. I found a geode.
You did, yeah.
Which was real cool.
Well, and that happened a lot. Like, people would do things like pick up cigarette butts or whatever, right?
Yeah,
and
they'd immediately had a whole bag.
Yeah, they'd immediately get rewarded by nature. Case in point that I was going to bring up, Weston, that night was able to get this really, I didn't hear the whole story, but there was a wine involved.
Okay. It was crazy. So anyway, the geode I found, I couldn't bring it home. It was in a boulder, like a big boulder. And there was a hole, and the inside was a geode. And I was like, oh my gosh. And no one saw it. And like, I brought the like image to our guide because I took a picture. She was like, that's amazing. Where did you find that? I was like, in that boulder. Like, it's just right over there. Weston picked up. So his offering always, everywhere we go, is picking up trash. When we went to Glugafoss, there was a tampon, and he picked it up. And he took it and disposed of it. because he's a saint, honestly. And then when we went to the next hotel, it was when I say it's a small hotel, like there wasn't a menu for dinner. You got what they were making that night. Like it was small. Hotel is a stretch. To call it a hotel is genuinely a stretch. It was a house that we were in. But they had wine. The only type of red wine was not only his favorite type of red wine in the world. It's called Chianti. It was a DCOG wine, which a DCOG wine is part of I think there's only 50 vineyards or something like that in all of Italy that have the DCOG certification. So to get DCOG wine in general, it's like, ooh, like we look for it in the store, and sometimes it'll be discounted and stuff, whatever, but like we look for it in the store because it's like, it means that they've spent 25 plus years getting certified of making like the best wines in Italy. And that a DCOG Chianti wine was the only red wine in this small ass guest house in the rural countryside of Iceland. I was like, he was the one who said it first. He's like, that was from that tampon. Like, for sure, me picking that up is what that was. Because it had, I'm like, that is so on, like, that is a ridiculous manifestation. A ridiculous manifestation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild.
Spectacular.
And we drank him out of it, I'm pretty sure. I think collectively, over 2 nights, everyone drank all of it, which was fine. It was fun. Yeah, that was really cool. Very, very cool. It was just so magical. On the way back to Reykjavik, our amazing guide took us to a spot that is not touristy. People don't go there. He took us there because he used to go there when he first moved there, because there used to be a couple that lived in this house that would like give people drinks and like kind of show them a tour and whatever. They have both since passed, and everyone, in his words, just forgot about it. And so we basically like pulled the bus over on the side of the road. Iceland has this law where you can walk anywhere, by the way.
Yeah, like everything's owned by somebody. Like someone owns the glacier, but you're still allowed to walk on it no matter what.
Yeah, you can just walk on things, which is wild, amazing, wild.
Yeah,
and it's thatched roof house, like huts basically, and then a farmhouse, and then a thatched roof church. The church is owned by the Icelandic government, so it's upkept, but everything else is not really. And he's like, "This is where you're going to find the elves." Basically, if like I'm going to take you here, this is where you find the elves. Oh boy, did we! Oh my god, one of the most magical places I've ever been, honestly. It was so activated. And also just a statement on Iceland too. Everything is still in the house. I was like, he's like, I think the kids maybe are fighting over it, or I don't really know. It's been years.
Yeah.
Everything is still just in there's dish soap on the sink. Like, it's like at that level of like, everything is in the house and you can just see in through the curtains. And there's different shacks. There's a garden that has now grown wild, filled with rhubarb. It's right in this little valley. It's the only house in this whole valley. And there's waterfalls, like 3 waterfalls cascading down around. It was so incredible. And all of us were just like, it was a moment of reverence. He did take us into the church. You felt comfy in there. I did not. I had to like panic leave the church.
Yeah.
That was and like church grounds in general.
Yeah. I went in there and I had the space to myself at first, and I was able to go to the kneeler, and I offered a crystal to the elves that had inhabited the church to just sort of let them know that, like, as someone who works very heavily with the Abrahamic pantheon, I think that they belong there. So that I gave them a crystal offering to make sure that like that was there. I didn't get a ton of like energy from the church. I felt really activated spaces associated with the Abrahamic pantheon. It's not usually in churches, gonna be honest. So it didn't feel super activated, but I did find some elves in there, and I was just like, hey, I like that you're here. So yeah,
there's definitely some elves there. I felt so uncomfortable in the church for some reason, and I'm not usually uncomfortable in churches. I'm fine, I think churches are beautiful, but I like, even Giuseppe was like having us sit there and like talk, and like he was like, he like revered the church, and I was like, hey, like I've got to get out of this church, like, and there's a graveyard behind it, as there typically is, and that's fine too, but for some reason just there was a stone wall around like the church grounds, and you went through that gate, there was a gate, and as soon as I went through, I was like, I don't like it in this little hole, like this is a not me spot. Everything else there was great, but like there was like, whew. Yeah. But it was a spectacular trip. Lots of people worked with a lot of like the Norse pantheon. Oh, this was the other thing that happened. Can't believe I forgot it. So we were traveling through Iceland, and once we like got to this certain portion, I started seeing dragon after dragon after dragon. There were so many dragons, and I was like, oh my gosh, Krista, there's a dragon over there. Do you see that one? Do that mountain that has a dragon? Like, do you see this? And it's not like in the stone. It's like they were flying around. Like,
yeah.
dragons, like many of
They were
them.
in the water.
They were in the water. They were all over. And I was like, wow, I don't know why I didn't anticipate dragons. I should have. One, volcanoes typically are dragon portals. They're portals to dragons. So, and there's a ton on Iceland. So I'm like, duh. Also, like, we've seen How to Train Your Dragon. They're a Norse thing. Like, why would we not anticipate dragons? But I didn't. And I was like, this is so interesting. Then later on, I drove around Iceland. Wes and I did a road trip around the entirety of Iceland. And it was weird because once we went into like a different part of Iceland, I stopped seeing dragons everywhere. I started seeing these like rock golem things all over the place. I'm like, huh, that's kind of weird. And then we went to another portion and I was like, wow, there's like weird like flying things here, like griffins and big eagles and like whatever. Anyway, it was super cool. We're up in the north and Weston picks up a mug and it has the seal of Iceland on it. Now, if you've ever looked at the crest of arms of Iceland, there are 4 beings on the crest of arms. One is a giant, one is a bull, one is a griffin, and one is a dragon. Looked it up and had about an aneurysm because where we were was the dragon quadrant. So Iceland is guarded and protected by 4 spirits, spirit guardians. Those are what they are. And in their quadrant of Iceland, that's where their beings inhabit. And we just naturally picked up on it without knowing. That was so validating. That was such a validating moment. Yeah. I was like spamming the chat. I'm like, guys!
Well, yeah, because we each got to do something after the trip, which is something that I really enjoy that we get to do with these trips is like afterwards, we kind of hang out after. I went over to Oxford, England, hung out in the Bodleian Library and the Ashmolean Museum, which was really fun. That's where I got to finally announce Greece because I had a whole room on Greece to myself with a model of the Parthenon. Parthenon. Thank you. It's the Parthenon. The Pantheon is in Rome.
Yeah.
But I was like, here's a really, like, I think I said, did I come all the way to Oxford, England to give you a really blatant clue about our next trip? No, but here it is anyway. Like, here you go. Come with us. But that was really fun. You got to finish the circle because we on the trip hung out mostly on the southern coast of Iceland. And you got to go further north. Yeah.
We went a good chunk up the east too. So we like southern and like a big portion of the east.
Yeah.
I went all the way around. So drove the whole rim road. Really cool. I highly recommend it, to be totally honest. I'm so glad I did it. We went and spent a bunch of time in Husavik. So we spent 2 nights in Husavik, which is very much north. It is the whale watching capital of Europe. Did we go whale watching? No. We walked around, explored the city. It is the site of the filming of the Eurovision Song Contest movie that I love so very much, The Story of Fire Saga. They filmed it there. Like, their places are all there. They're just normal buildings that are just used in the town, which was really, really cute and fun to like see. And it means so much to me. So they had the original house for the elves from the movie there too. And I got to see a double rainbow over it, which was incredibly cool. I got we were manifesting northern lights, right? We told you guys we were manifesting northern lights. It is literally 24-hour sunlight. It is so fucking bright. We did not see them, but I did get the second best thing. We were coming out of a hot spring. We were the only ones awake. It was literally the hot spring was closing, and a double rainbow happened over Husavik, and it was so bright, turned all the clouds rainbow color. It was, I'll take a midnight rainbow. Like, I'll take midnight double rainbow for sure. So that was the resolution of that. So powerful, so impactful. And then we also went to the next time we went to was called Seyðisfjörður, and it's on a fjord, and you have to like go down through this canyon, and it's like in this bowl, and all like every 15 feet there's a waterfall. Like I'm not even exaggerating. It's just surrounded by waterfalls. It's this beautiful, cute little town. And as soon as we got down in there, I was like, oh, this place is haunted as shit. Like, this is the most haunted town I've been in a really long time. I'm like walking around, I'm like, there's so many ghosts here. Like, so many. We walk into one, there's 2 bars in the whole town. We walk into one of them just to get some food, and we sit down. Oh, the other thing I'll say, Iceland is the most vegetarian-friendly place I've ever been.
Yeah, so
shocking.
Really quickly, I had heard so much about how bland and boring the food was. Not
true.
Not so.
Some of the best food we've had on trips ever, and we've gone to like culinary capitals of the world. Iceland food was better. Like, it was so good.
Were good. Like, we had this one day that we had to do food trucks for this lunch, and Giuseppe was so sad because we didn't get this one other thing. No, I got a vegan burrito and pumpkin soup, and I was stoked. It was so good. Yeah.
I had a langoustine sandwich. Langoustine is like Norwegian lobsters. It was so good. There was not a single meal I didn't like that we had in all of Iceland. Yeah, and there was always at least 2 very solid, not just salad, vegetarian options on the menu. Yes. At least 2. And they were so good that like Weston would be like, ooh, I might order that. And that's always my biggest gripe with vegetarian cuisine is that like it's designed for people who are vegetarians and not designed for like anybody who might want to eat it. But Iceland got it. Oh my God, it was so good. So good. Amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
Anyway, we went into this pub. And I was like, oh, there's a ghost in here, like, and said hello to her. And then you like read the front of the menu, and their lager recipe, it says on the front of the menu, was given to them by the ghost. Like, it's that level of haunted. And I was like, wow, okay, so like we're really acknowledging this. It turns out that town, that fjord during World War II, there was a British, I think, oil ship. I have to remember. It was a big one. It was a big ship. It was hiding in that fjord, and it got bombed and sunk. And a lot of people died. I'm like, well, that's why. And you can still snorkel it and tour it and whatever, which don't do that. I mean, it's cool to see, but like, it's still a graveyard. It's very weird. I have weird feelings. We can go into shipwrecks later. I have weird vibes about it. But in general, I was like, that's why there are ghosts everywhere, because they're just all walking. Every building is haunted. I even made a video. I'll probably post it soon, because I was just like, see that building? It's haunted. See that building? There's haunted. Every building was so haunted. Like, there was one point in time, I was like opening the door to our hotel, which was in like what used to be a house, of course. And it literally, someone was like breathing in my ear. I'm like, could we not? Thanks. We're just so haunted. It was very, very magical. So did that, stayed in a bubble. We slept in a bubble in the middle of the forest.
That's so cool.
So magical too. There's horses all around. You could hear them all neighing all night long, which I loved personally.
Yeah.
There's horses everywhere, and sheep every fucking where.
And
There's just sheep and horses.
We spent a majority of the bus trips between spaces, because there were a couple longer ones where I would be like, Krista, horses, Krista, waterfall. And so I tried to keep up, but I just was not as adept at spotting them as you were. And it was hilarious the entire time. I loved
And I'd
it.
be like, ponies.
Ponies.
Ponies over there. Did you see over there? Yeah. Anyway, it was so magical. I do think it was a deeply life-changing trip for me, at least.
Yeah.
Just speaking to my own experience, and we did get a lot of traveler feedback that was also the same. Just awe-inspiring.
Yeah. It really held space for the spirit, whatever state the spirit was in. And I think it did a lot of healing with that too, like tapping into nature at that level. And one of the days, we focused on the power of nature and what aligned and appropriate power looks and feels like. And I really think that the ability of nature to hold space for all of our drama,
right,
is incredible. And that was something that I noticed while we were there.
Yeah, I fully agree. Yeah. Anyway, it was magical. We would love you guys to travel with us.
Yes.
Come with us. Also, there's weird astrology shit happening this week. We don't really have a lot of time to go into it, but it's very weird.
I have an hour-long video on my YouTube. It's the Monday Magic Mood Boost for July 7th. Check that out. It's going to explain all the Uranus stuff that you're probably getting a lot of fear-mongering on. I apologize for other astrologers out there who might be doing that. To anyone who's not doing that, get it. Love that. Thank you.
Yeah, it'd be weird right
really
now.
Weird.
Also, re-up your wards, your personal protections, like not even just your house, but like do your shielding. Like this week is a week of shielding. Shield your shit.
Yeah. And ground. So we have the Capricorn full moon this week, right? So
we do.
Yeah. I recommend the morning after to give the moon some time to actually like be full but not afflicted. Do what Emma's saying. Like get your wards going.
Oh my God. I saw a video. I don't know. Decently viral. Like not super viral, but decently viral of a man who's like, I've been testing, scientifically testing water's ability to hold information during a full moon and if it increases or not. And he like spoke to it and he's like, yeah, it turns out like, I think he said like up to a day before or something like that, water starts to take on a lot more information and it only happens during the full moon and it continues till like a day after or something. I forget exactly what he said. And he was like, I proved it scientifically. Like this is actually a scientifically thing that's happened. And I think it's so funny because TJ got a haircut. TJ got a haircut right now. Nice. Because I was like, who is in my backyard? My child is. But anyway, he basically was like, everyone in the comments was like, super love it when men discover things women have been doing for thousands of years. But that is true. And it's like, has scientific backing now. So no, like, again, magic is just stuff science hasn't addressed yet. And that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So, but I just, with the full moon, it's a great time to do that. It's just really funny.
And can I astrology
Please,
geek out
go.
about that for a second?
Do it.
So the day before the full moon, the moon is within 13 degrees of being full. So that is, when the moon is coming into fullness. And then a day after, it's 13 degrees after, and it takes about 45 degrees before the moon hits crescent. So, like, it's, of course, the day before and the day after, because that's when it's still under the beams, or across from the beams of the sun. Oh, that's so cool. It's actually the loosening of the bond. 15 degrees after the full moon is when the moon is loosening its bond from the sun. So, coming into it and then going out of it, yes, of course. And that's astronomy as much as it is astrology.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so do some moon water, re-up your shields. It's just going to be a real weird week, guys. It's just going to be real weird. Every time I look at the energy, I'm like, oh, weird.
not to catastrophize or anything, but we're on a roller coaster now, and we're going to be on a roller coaster for a while. And sometimes it's bunny hills, and sometimes it's big drops. So just know that we're on a roller coaster for a while. And again, I go over dates, details, all that stuff on YouTube. We don't need to like pop off here on it, but just be ready to, if you have the choice, listen to your anxiety. If it's telling you that there's danger, do what you need to do. But if you have the choice, try to lean into things that excite you so you can alchemize that energy toward things that you can use and do good things with. We're living in a world where that's not always easy and possible, and I acknowledge that. But if you have the ability, try to do that.
Learning new things and doing exciting things are how... Ding! You got a ding and everything.
My computer is participating now. I moved over to a new browser, and it's like, I want to be the notification.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, learning new things and getting excited about things are the way we're going to combat fear. So it's okay to breadcrumb yourself forward too. Find something to look forward to each month. Totally okay.
Yep. Necessary.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for being here. If you could pretty please download this episode on whatever you are listening to, that would be amazing. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like, follow, heart, comment. Yeah. Give us an emoji. We love that last time.
Whatever your favorite emoji is that shows how you feel today or about this week or about this episode, whatever you want to share with us, that would be great.
An emoji about like what you think would represent this episode would be great. We would love that. That would be fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, please comment that. If you're on a platform, we're able to do so. If you're not watching us on YouTube, you should watch us on YouTube because we're silly.
We are.
You get to see
There's
us
a lot of
that
visual
way.
stuff. You know, like sometimes it makes me laugh so hard I spit water everywhere. It's worth watching.
Yeah. Oftentimes our dogs make cameos. Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate you so much. We hope to travel with you in the future. And we hope that you...
Ooh, it's been a while.
1, 2, 3. Go make some magic.